Today we're going to finish putting together the crank, and then we have to reassemble the front wheel. That's what's happening on this episode of Featherstone Bicycles. First thing we need to do is fish out our pieces that we had soaking in the evapor rust. That would be the front axle hub and the other bearing cage for the bottom bracket. See how that evapor rust did on the hub. Very nice. I don't even have to put this on the wire wheel. But where the real rust was inside here. Yep. That was some grease. There was rust underneath. And the rust inside the bearing cages also came out. Nice. You can see that rust coming off on that Q-tip, hopefully. All right. We are ready to reassemble. We'll start with the crank, and the first thing we need to do is put the balls back in the cages. Reassemble the chain ring onto the crank. And put a little Teflon juju on those threads. Again, this is drive side, so it's right hand threads, and it only needs to be finger tight because as you pedal, you are going to be tightening it. And so we don't get confused on reassembly day, we're going to just put all of the smaller components into a bag, and we will put the finished pieces on our shelf, keeping our unfinished pieces over here, which will be for the next episode. Moving on to the front wheel, we're going to start with the hub assembly. And in order to do that, we've got to take our bearing cages, our broken bearing cage there, and all of the individual little balls, which probably would be best to use a magnet. There are two possible solutions here. I might have a small 7-ball ring like that, but I can't exactly put my hands on it right now. I can either, for this one that's broken, go ahead and reconstruct it the best I can and just fit it in there. I could super glue it, but the pieces are, the connections are so small, it probably wouldn't be effective. The other solution is to just put 7 or possibly 8 balls in there. Let's see how 7 fit. I've got more, oh boy. I've got more ball bearings, put more in to fill up the space, and as you can see, I would need to put 2 or 3 more in there to fill up the space. I'm gonna try it both ways and see. I am gonna do this one since it's not broken. Assuming I don't break it putting the balls back in. I can tell you they go in a lot easier in a plastic one than they do on metal. So that's how that looks. I'm gonna put some of my Teflon. I always do this on the axles. This helps the, oh boy, helps the cone nut, lock nut, and everything else. Put the, see how nice that slides on there now? So when this goes in here, the top, the flange part of this cone nut is just really sort of even with the axle hub. The question would be, if I just put, say, 2 or 3 more balls in that space, would the same thing happen? So what I'm going to have to do is figure out what size these are and try that experiment. If not, I'm going to redo, I'm just going to put that plastic cage in as best I can and hope for the best. Stand by. So the first thing we need to do is take our handy Park Tool ball bearing size ruler, and they does not fit in there, does not fit in there, but it does fit in there. So that is a 3/16. And I do have a jar of brand new 3/16 ball bearings. So I'm going to put one in there. This tweezers is magnetic, so that makes it a little bit of a challenge. And I think I'm going to leave some room there because, well, let's see now. Let's just put this cone on and see. I would hesitate jamming them in there and not leaving enough room to rotate around, but we'll see how things work out. Well, I had to say, that's about the same thickness. And I'm not getting it. This, of course, is without any grease. Yeah. I think that'll work. I think that's better than putting this damaged piece back in, because although I think it would be impossible, what I was worried about was that it would start to come more undone and one of these pieces would get caught in there, but there's actually so little room for anything to happen there, you know, for a piece to start to become dislodged and then start moving around. There's no room for it to go. So I don't know. Either way seems to work. All right, I'm gonna have to think about this for a while. So I'm just gonna go with this method. And of course, first I'm gonna have to grease this up. Reassemble the wheel. The first thing I had to do was get all the spoke nipples off of the spokes from when I had cleaned them. Now I'm going to put a little bit of my Teflon on the threads for the spokes. And I just kind of move that around a little bit. And then we got to get our wheel down from where it was drying for the last week or so. And now starts the reassembly. I'm not going to go through it, how to do it. I've been through it a lot on the channel. Even have a special episode on it. So epic time lapse follows. Maybe I should have explained it on camera, because just goes to show you, as many times as you have done this in your life, you can still screw it up. I had a feeling, started the other side, about 3 spokes in, I started to sense something wasn't right. And in retrospect, I should have realized it right away, because normally when you start those unders on the other side as your first group, it ends up coming up around here, and you have to bend it a lot to get it over. And for some reason, that wasn't happening at about the 3rd spoke. And as it turned out, I was 1 extra hole over, and on the previous one. So that's why I was just 1 spoke ahead of myself, 1 rim hole ahead of myself. And I quickly realized the mistake when I got to the overs as the final step, and where that spoke was supposed to go in the rim hole, there was already a spoke there. So I just had to undo the unders up until that point where I realized the mistake, and then redo them, then did the overs, and everything was fine. So just as a sanity check, you check the dish to make sure it's somewhat even, obviously very loose, but now the next step is to get it on the truing stand. So we put the axle just up to the lock nuts in these little grooves. Tighten it down like so. The pincher's pushed out. Make sure that's going to work out okay. All right. And as you can see, that's not a very true wheel. Starting point, you want to make sure that all of your spokes are evenly tightened. And the easiest way to do that is to see where see if I can bring you in here, where the end of the spoke nipple is in relationship to the end of the threads. And if you recall back to the back wheel, I usually tighten these as a first step until the threads just start to disappear, but that was too tight. So I'm going to go just a little bit less than that, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. And do that all the way around. You start at the valve stem hole so you know where you are, and then you can start the actual truing process of fine-tuning it. What that did as far as getting the true a little bit closer to where it needs to be. Obviously much better, but not good enough. So now what we need to do is bring our pinchers closer into the rim until we start to hear some rubbing, like right there. The spokes on this side are too tight. The spokes on this side are too loose. So we're gonna loosen some spokes on this side and tighten some spokes on that side until we don't hear the rubbing anymore. And then we bring the pinchers a little closer and go through that process, and we go until the pinchers are almost touching the rim. It's not gonna be perfect. This isn't a Formula One racing car, but you're going to get it so close that the wheel will ride very true. But I ran into some technical difficulties, so that is going to have to wait until next time. Thanks for sticking with me, and I hope to see you next time on Featherstone Bicycles.